What's going on, everybody? I'm Johnny Martinez, and you are plugged into the Social Plug Podcast, where we connect you to level up and where we discuss ordinary people doing extraordinary things. We are always powered by Social Plug Media. Today, we're in the beautiful and historic downtown area in New Braunfels, Texas, specifically at Collabspace Studios, the brand new Collabspace Studios. This is the only place in the area that you can collaborate, network, create your own podcast, create your own content, get mentored, get affiliated with a lot of people, and it's all in one place. One-stop shop, Collabspace Studios, 167 South Seguin Avenue. Today's episode is sponsored by our friends at pbbackdrops.com. They have everything you need as far as backdrops, signs, banners, table covers, pop-up tents. They even have neon signs and anything else that you may need to get your logo on for marketing, branding, and beyond. You can find them on Facebook and at pbbackdrops.com. I got my man in the house, J-Rock. What is going on?
What up, my guy? You doing good?
Man, I'm doing great. It's Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
And we're live once again. We were live yesterday, and we're live again.
We were live earlier, bro.
Oh, we were live earlier for Hype Club.
That's right. We
So,
were live earlier.
Hosted
So we're
by
getting at it.
Jerry Salceda. So this Collabspace Studio is pretty busy.
Oh, yeah.
We got a lot of things going on. Like I said before, this is the only place in the area where you can collab, rent space, content create, and do your own podcast or be a special guest on Social Plug Podcast, Hype Club Live, or Kick Rocks.
On one of our 3 platforms, man. So it's a great spot. I'm enjoying it. Getting after work, and, man, it's a blessing to be here. So I'm excited for today's episode, as always, and ready to learn. That's what I love about bringing everybody on. We're always learning when we're bringing somebody on. So, heck yeah.
All our guests are extraordinary, man. And they're actually ordinary, but they do extraordinary things.
That's right.
So let's go back to your shot there, J-Rock.
Hey.
So you got J-Rock there with the glasses and the hat, but behind him you see a little courtyard. That's cool. So that is a storefront courtyard where we can see out. You can't really see in.
No.
But we can see what's going on. There's people passing by. So we're right between Les Centron European Bistro and Sasquatch Outfitters. All right. So if you ever want to come for a tour, do an open house, whatever, let us know. We're going to be having a grand opening sometime in the near future. We will let you guys know. So we can't wait for that.
So exciting time, man.
Yeah, exciting time. So today's special guest, I'm excited to have her on. All right. So we kind of all know who she is because I've been teasing the guest here. So she's an author, and she's a community leader. She's an influencer, community influencer. She influences a lot of people, a lot of kids. She has a lot of things going on. She's a bookkeeper, and she's a mom and a wife. Courtney Rancho, what's going on?
Howdy.
You doing all right?
I'm good.
You ready to rock and roll?
I am.
We got a lot of intriguing topics that we're going to cover.
Yeah.
We're not only going to cover your story and what you got going on that makes you extraordinary, but some of the things that are going on in the world, in society, things that a lot of people feel uncomfortable talking about, right? Sometimes we get too hamstrung and thinking about what are people going to think if I say some things, right? And we'll get into that because society today is overwhelming. Society today is a very delicate thing, and everybody tries to fit in, but there's sometimes if you don't fit in, you get ousted, right? And we'll get deep in the weeds on that too, because that is a very intriguing topic, and just some people don't feel comfortable with it. But we'll talk about it, all right? So you're an author, all right? So your first book is the ABCs, the Bible edition.
Yes, sir.
Let's talk about that.
Awesome. 2022.
You wrote it in 2022.
I started it in 2022.
Okay.
So before then, I had wanted to write a children's book. I had a storyline in mind. And the more I sat down to try to write it, the less information I had instead of the other way around. And I sat down with one of my now mentors. And I'm like, I don't know how to write my book. You know, I want to write a book. This is the idea, but I'm not getting anywhere with it. And so in conversations with her, I ended up where I decided to do an alphabet book instead.
Okay.
My daughter was in kindergarten at the time, and what better way to learn your alphabet than reading a book?
Right.
And so I took Bible lessons, and I attached them to every letter of the Bible. I'm sorry, every letter of the alphabet.
Okay.
And so no two stories are the same. And then we share the gospel in the end, and it explains salvation basically to a kindergartner to where they would be able to understand it.
So you said you started in 2022. You didn't really know, you didn't have direction. You didn't know where to go.
No,
right?
I had a completely different topic that I wanted to talk about.
What was that topic?
It was showing the crucifixion through the eyes of a child.
Okay.
Basically through the eyes of my 5-year-old. And the more I wanted to research about Israel during that time and, what families were like, conversations were like, it wasn't going anywhere.
So do kids, they understand Jesus, they understand God, and they understand all these things, but they don't really comprehend that he died and he was pretty much murdered.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And it's hard for a kid to understand that because murder is kind of grotesque and it's
Right.
bad.
Right. So, from the eyes of a child, you learn that, yes, sin is bad, and I sin, you sin. We learn about what sin is, and that in order to go to heaven, we have to have our sins forgiven.
Right.
And, the only way we could do that was if either, was for somebody to forgive us of our sins. So we would have to, understand that Jesus is the one that came to earth to save us.
Sorry, I'm just going to fix your mic real quick because I can barely hear you.
Hey, we got J-Rock on the spot. J-Rock is the jack of all trades. J-Rock does everything here.
Okay, he was stalking, and I was like, what's
I know, yeah. He's there standing looking like a creep. Come on, J-Rock. All right, so this is a religious book, right?
Yes, so basically, from the eyes of a 5-year-old, you learn that Jesus loves you.
Right.
And because he loves you, he took your place.
Okay.
So that you can go and spend your life in heaven with him when you die.
So you had that premise that kind of fell through the cracks, right?
Yes.
So then you said, you know what, let me make something more with illustrations and things like that, and the ABCs, because kids can understand ABCs.
Yes.
Right?
So like I said, my daughter was kindergarten, so she already knew her alphabet, but at the time we were learning Bible stories, and I wanted to be able to share a multitude of stories with her.
Right.
But you come across books, and sometimes the stories aren't 100% accurate,
Right.
or you just don't like the illustrations
Right.
or whatever it is, right?
Right.
And 5-year-olds, they have an attention span of nothing.
Right.
And so it's just a couple sentences about each item or place or person. And then it gives a Bible passage for parents to be able to go and open up a Bible and talk more about it.
That's pretty cool because we talked about it earlier. Today, and let's just be honest, Courtney, religion is kind of falling by the wayside.
Absolutely.
Right? And it's unfortunate because we were founded on Christian beliefs and these kind of things that made America great, America strong, all these different things. But now with the trends going on, people are saying, we don't really need religion.
Right.
We don't need a foundation of religion in the household.
Right.
We're going to be fine. We can make decisions on our own, and we don't need Jesus or God or whoever people believe in.
They trust in themselves.
To make our decisions. And that might be true to a sense, but ultimately having the faith in something bigger than yourself, the fear of God, right? And we always hear, I'm a God-fearing man, I'm a God-fearing woman, God-fearing child, whatever. I think it's important, right? And I'm going to be honest, I don't go to church all the time. I try to go at least once or twice a month. Because now we have church on Facebook Live.
Right.
We have all these different outlets,
Right.
But good on you for keeping that faith alive and for influencing children.
Right.
Because that takes a bold step to be able to do that, especially in today's society where it's not the norm or it's kind of against the grain. Because you can easily get ridiculed,
Oh, yeah.
right? And people are going to say, oh, man, that Courtney Rancho, she's a Bible thumper or all these kind of things. I don't want to listen to that stuff because it's not real, right? We hear that all the time. But I think if you believe and you have that foundation of trust, faith, and confidence in something bigger than yourself that shows values and good morals and ethics and character that teaches people to be positive, I think that is a virtue. That is a huge thing, and people might be better for it.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
So the book writing process, You said you have a mentor now.
Right.
How does one get started on writing a book?
Well, obviously an idea, but beyond that, like, the lady that I had gone to, she's like, I get people, she had already published a book. And she's like, I get people all the time to come up to me and say, oh, I want to write a book. I have this idea. I want to write a book. And, they would have had it for years, you know, and they haven't started on it. And she's like, Courtney, you just have to sit down and write. It doesn't matter, how long you sit there, but you need to sit down, you need to get something on paper and just start. So I sat down with her at the beginning of December of 22. And after that meeting, I started sitting down and just spending time with pen and paper or computer and
thoughts.
And thoughts.
A bunch of thoughts.
Originally, it was going to be different people. Like every letter was going to be a different person in the Bible. Ran into problems with that one.
A, Adam.
Right.
B, who would be...
I don't remember.
Yeah.
To be completely
There's
honest,
so
I
many.
don't remember. There were so many, but there were certain letters that I'm like, either I can't find a character or a person in the Bible that I know enough about to explain, or the story was not age appropriate.
Right.
And so...
Because this is for elementary
this
school.
is for kindergarten.
Kindergarten.
Yes, kindergarten, first grade. And so I very quickly scrapped that idea and decided to do person, places, things,
Relatable
objects,
stuff. Yeah.
things that they're learning about already, and kind of tying it back to the Bible.
Awesome. So you have a faith-based household, right?
Yes, sir.
So, and then obviously you wrote your book. It's based on faith. So how has faith changed your life? How has the journey been? Have you always been faith-based? Were you raised in the church? Were you raised with religious parents? Give us your life journey.
So my grandparents, both sides of my family, were Christians. One side was deacon in the church, song leader, all of that stuff. So my mom grew up, in the church. My dad was, his family was military. They were Army.
Okay.
And they moved around a lot, but from the time that I knew my grandparents, they were always Christians. I don't remember beyond that. I'm sure they were.
Right.
But, so they grew up Christian. And then, excuse me. And then my parents met, and I was young. And my mom was an alcoholic.
Okay.
She's since recovered from all of that. There were a lot of things that happened in the house that were not great.
So you saw some things, you learned from some things.
I did.
And it affected you. Does that still affect you today?
It does. There are a lot of things within my marriage, within raising my daughter, that I think back, I'm like, was this a good decision? Was this not a good decision? Looking back on my parents. My dad was not perfect. I mean, neither of my parents were. My dad wasn't perfect either. But I got saved. I became a Christian when I was 13.
Okay.
When I started attending my dad's parents' church in Georgia, and I got involved in the youth group. And shortly thereafter, I was able to go to the Christian school and got my foundation in the Bible and all of that there. I then graduated high school, went to Pensacola Christian College. Was there for 2 years, but I had to leave due to finances. I originally wanted to, at that age, I wanted to be a missionary. I wanted to take the gospel
So
to
what
other
does
countries.
a missionary entail? Like what's the path for that?
It's basically taking you going to another, a lot of times you'd going to another country or something like that, and sharing the gospel.
Sharing the gospel, going to South America
South America.
to spread the word
Right.
of goodness on what you're doing, right? To
Well,
influence
on what,
others.
On what Jesus did for
What
us.
Jesus did for us. So do you target, so like what is the target? Do you go to non-Christian type communities or countries or?
It's a lot of times it's just wherever you feel led, where the Lord wants you.
Because there's some places that are dangerous, Courtney.
There are, yeah.
And you're unwanted there.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's the risk that you're willing to take to get the gospel out. That's how important the gospel is.
Is there oversight on, because I see some of these kids, the Mormon religion goes to, the houses when we all, there's always jokes. Oh, when you see people come to your house, oh, hide, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or I don't, pretend we're not home, right?
Yeah.
Those kind of things.
Yeah.
And I'm just keeping it real. That's how we grew up.
As a teenager, our youth group, we would do door knocking.
Yeah.
We would we would learn how to interact
Right.
with other people. We would, like I said, go door knocking. We'd knock on doors, and some people would answer, some people wouldn't.
Did that make you better? Did that give you confidence and
It did,
resiliency?
in a lot of things.
Because your door was slammed in your face 100 times,
Oh, yeah.
right? But if you reached one person, it was a win.
Yeah.
So how many wins did you have?
Oh, I don't
Hundreds?
know. Only eternity can tell.
Because you could still be influencing people today,
Absolutely.
right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you have an intriguing story based on faith.
Right.
And I don't know if you've ever swayed out of that, because I know there's like Amish religion
Right.
where they're faith-based as well,
Yeah.
and they have different derivatives of the Amish religion,
Right.
where some can use cell phones, some can ride in a jet, and it's
There were
just
definite-
continually growing.
Yeah, there were definite times where I didn't feel like the Lord was with me, where I questioned whether or not Christianity was a thing.
Does that happen to a lot of people though? Because bad stuff happens all the time.
It does, and I think a lot of it, as long as you're reading your Bible and you're actively spending time with the Lord, then He gives you that comfort.
Yeah.
He gives you that peace that He's got you taken care of.
Like I said, I'm not the most religious man in the world by any stretch, but we are taught Jesus or God is going to give you challenges. He's going to allow things to happen to you. And the way you rise up and overcome these obstacles, He's showing you that you can do it. He's giving you strength. He's giving you sight. He's giving you foresight,
Right.
hindsight, all these different things. So, yeah, I mean, a lot of people lose faith. Like if you lose somebody to a tragic accident, oh, Jesus wasn't with me. He wasn't watching over me. He watching over my family.
That's not the case.
That's not the case. But there are some people who
There are
lose
people,
faith.
and there are a lot
because
of
of that.
people, like I know of a lady, I don't know if she shares this in her book, so I don't want to say her name, but I know of a lady, like she had struggled with an illness, and she had gone to someone, and a Christian that she trusted,
Right.
and they're like, well, you just don't have enough faith. God will heal you if you had more faith, and that's not the case.
Right.
There are times where we'll go through cancer, or we'll go through sickness, or anything, and it might not be what we want, but it has a purpose,
Right.
whether for ourselves or for somebody watching us.
Right. So you're a mom, you're a wife, and you had a lot of challenges growing up. You said the alcohol was part of your not your life, but it was in your family. Dad wasn't perfect. I don't think anybody had perfect families. I think
Right.
my family I had drugs, alcohol, abuse, neglect. I had all these different things going on, and not specifically in my household, but throughout my influential network growing up. So when I was growing up, I had all these things: poverty, despair, disdain, all these different things. But I think it made me stronger today as a man, because now I'm street smart in the sense that I can look back and say, oh, there's a sign right there, alcoholism. Oh, there's a sign, domestic violence.
Makes you hesitate.
It makes me more aware. So do you think having those issues growing up made you better today?
Oh yeah. I mean, a lot of the things I probably would be okay doing without.
Right.
But there are now situations that I'll come across and I'm like, nope, I don't want to go down that path.
Right.
I've seen where that leads, and that is not, not just for me, but for my daughter,
Right.
or for people that I come in contact with. I'm like, that's not, the path you want to go down. It's not, very friendly.
So let's get into that. And I said we're going to talk about some tough stuff. Religion is a tough topic, right? Some people don't want to hear it. Some people might be listening and say, "Oh, they're talking about religion. Let me get off that," right? I mean, let's just keep it real, right?
Yeah.
So parenting today is a tough thing,
Oh yeah.
right? You got a lot of influences, a lot of things that are growing, and they're continuously trending, and not in a positive way. Sometimes we think, hey, my kid is really smart. He's not going to go get into trouble with fentanyl or drugs or TikTok trends or relationships and things like that. But things happen, right? Now, you kind of alluded to it a little bit. You don't want to keep your daughter, she's 6.5 years old. You don't want her to be a part of negativity. And
Right.
neither do I. I don't want my kids being a part of negativity. But guess what? The reality is it's going to happen. And I think we got to, as parents, teach our children good and bad and indifferent. There's things in the middle that you can make your own decision with. There's stuff that's definitely bad. Murder, drugs, bad relationships, hitting people, doing all these. And then there's good. Helping people, helping others, accomplishing goals. And then there's stuff in the middle that you're just going to have to figure out on your own, right? So let me ask you this as a parent. If you shelter your kids to not see any bad, is that ultimately helping them grow?
No, not at all. I think that, when you're talking about the drugs and all of that, like, having healthy, age-appropriate conversations about, what drugs are, what alcohol is, what it does, what, when they start getting their license or wanting their license, what does it look like to get into a car accident? What does it take to, drink and drive? Things you never want them to experience, but you want them to understand the consequences without physically understanding the consequences. What could happen.
There are some things I want my daughters to feel. And some people might say, man, Johnny, why are you saying that? I want them to feel heartache. I want them to feel heartbroken. I want them to feel that they're disappointing sometimes to people. They were letting people down. That way they understand how it feels, and it's a shitty way to feel, right? Yeah. So there's some times where my wife and I, we kind of let them make decisions, and we know which way it's going to go, but we let them grow on their own so they can feel. And then we don't want to be the ones, hey, I told you so.
Oh, yeah.
But they know.
Yeah.
And kids are very resilient. Kids are very mindful of their surroundings. And I see it all the time. And I think you posted this on Facebook. We're role models, right?
Oh, yeah.
Kids don't always listen to what you say.
They watch what you do.
They watch what you do. How important is that as a parent?
Oh, it's entirely important. Thinking back to my childhood, like, I would watch my parents, and I'm like, I don't want to do this when I grow up, or, that might be fun, or, whatever it is. And now I look back at it and I'm like, there's no way I would have done any of that.
Right.
But kids watch, they'll mimic you. You think about a little 2-year-old standing on a step stool, shaving with daddy.
Yeah.
Or, little girls trying to put on makeup. Like that's what my daughter's been trying to do lately.
That's a big thing today.
Steal my makeup.
Right.
So, yeah.
So I know about the makeup because I spend $100 every time my kids go to Ulta, or to Target or whatever. So I'm not anti-makeup. I know it's the thing today the girls like to feel pretty.
Yeah.
The girls like to be included, and they like all this little, they like feeling like a young lady.
Yeah.
And I get it. I just don't like when my daughters have all the mascara and the blush and
and like I said, she's 6.
Looking like, who did we talk about yesterday, J-Rock? Dolly Parton.
Dolly Parton, yeah.
Right. So makeup, because they started getting the makeup around 9 years old, 10 years old. I'm like, girls, way too young. But now they're about to get, or one of them in high school.
Okay.
And then the other one is going into 8th grade. So I get it.
So what's the proper age for these kids to start trying to attempt to wear makeup?
7th, 8th grade, very minimal makeup.
Time.
Yeah, maybe minimal.
Maybe a little blush.
Okay.
Little mascara, but looking like Dolly Parton when you're in 6th grade, because I see that sometimes.
Oh my goodness.
And these girls on TikTok, these influencers, right? They have all this makeup and TikTok shop. Look, buy this and $9.99, and then you start buying this stuff, and it starts adding up, and it's craziness.
Yeah,
I
I'm not buying makeup, but man, the TikTok will get you, bro.
Dude, I bought so much useless crap off of TikTok because TikTok is an influence.
Yeah.
It is, yeah. And, you know, I think even like surface level, like explaining to them the value of $1 helps a
Yeah,
lot.
that's
It goes a
very
long
important.
way.
There's some adults that don't know the value of $1,
I know.
right?
You know, understanding that makeup costs money.
Yeah.
And, you know, and even, I mean, not to go too deep too fast, but like even like the appearance of trying to look older, more, you know, trying to please men.
That's another
Older.
thing today.
Yeah.
So I always tell my wife, we go out to, so my kids, like I said, are middle school and high school. And I go to these functions, and I'm like, holy cow, this looks like a college. And I'm in the middle school, right?
Right.
These girls look like college girls, and they're dressed like college girls. I remember when I was growing up, middle school and high school, the girls very conservative, long dresses, long sleeves,
Sweatpants.
maybe some sweatpants. Today, it's a little athletic gear and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe putting some of these male teachers in a bad situation. And there are some, you know, situations that we know happen. I'm not going to get into it. Stuff happens
Right.
in today's society, in schools. Whenever you have people, bad stuff is bound to happen, right? Whether there's alcohol involved or whatever. Because there's the 7 deadly sins, right? Lust, gluttony, pride, wrath, all these different things, right? But when you have people, things happen. But some little girls, little boys, parents need to be mindful of their scenario. And there's sometimes my daughters leave the house, and I'm like, girls, get back in here, put on some different clothes or whatever. Because as a dad, I feel it's my obligation to protect these girls because I know what's out there.
It's your job.
I know what's
That's
out there.
literally your
And I
job.
know not everybody thinks the way I do about protecting my children. There's people out there who are predators, and they don't give a crap about you know, our livelihoods. So the world is a dangerous place. So as parents, it's very important for us to be mindful and put some emphasis on teaching morals, teaching ethics, things like that, decision making, because we don't know what's out there. And we'll get into the homeschool thing here in a minute. But in schools today, I don't think they're teaching the way they used to teach back in the day. And of course, I'm not in this situation. I'm not in the classroom today.
Right.
My kids are very intelligent. They're getting a lot of good information. So big kudos to the teachers. We love our teachers. We've become friends with some of our kids' teachers. I could never imagine my parents back in the day befriending any of my old teachers. You know, and teachers today, they're young ladies in their 20s, 30s. I remember growing up, and you could probably attest to this, J-Rock, and you too, Courtney.
Yeah.
My teachers were in their 60s and 70s consistently.
Yeah.
Today's teachers are kids. Kids teaching kids. Even in high school, you see like a 25-year-old teacher teaching 16 and 17-year-olds. They're almost in the same generation.
Yeah.
So how does that work? Well, what do you think, J-Rock?
Well, I think overall, man, like it's kind of tough. Like I grew up with a lot of older teachers, and I had one teacher that was younger. And I'll be real with you, man. Like she was younger. I thought she was beautiful, and like your brain goes there as a youngster too.
Check out
You
J-Rock.
know?
You think his teacher's beautiful.
So you know what I'm saying. But I think at the end of the day, it's scary when I go, you know, see some of my basketball kids playing, and I'm like, you know, these kids, like literally, the kids are hanging out with the teacher. And then, you know, one of my basketball, you know, parents was like, hey, that's, you know, so-and-so's teacher. I'm like, that's a teacher? I thought that was a kiddo with the kids. Like, that's a teacher? So, yeah, it's definitely scary to see, you know, the different ways of the generation change of the teaching nowadays.
And I also sympathize with some of these teachers because I hear horror stories.
Oh, yeah.
STAR test and all these different things that they are mandated to do. Some might not believe in it, and I'm not saying any names, so I really don't care. But some don't believe in it. Some do, because you're pretty much teaching the test to these kids. And you're foot stomping different topics, different subjects, different answers to questions and things like that. So, and I think teachers today have a tough job to do, because now for some households, there's not two parents
Oh yeah. I was about to say.
in the households,
I was
right?
about to say that.
So the child goes to school without the proper equipment, so to speak, in their mindset.
Yeah.
They're being raised by the teachers, so to speak. And God bless some of the single mothers or single fathers out there, but they're handicapped in the sense that there's only one parent in some households, right?
Yeah.
And so they don't have that support system. But the kid's the one that ultimately suffers, because the parents in today's crappy economy don't have the monetary funds to clothe, to feed, and to maintain the household monetarily. So the parents, bless their hearts, sometimes they have to work two jobs, and the kid has to, essentially raise themselves, or get raised by grandparents, or hey, today you're gonna go stay with your aunt and uncle, so they're going from house to house, and they don't have any consistency in their life, and so we've seen that, we've heard the horror stories on that. And teachers have to deal with that, because now the kid goes to school hungry. The kid goes to school empty with love. They don't have the love, the nourishment, all these different things. So being a teacher is a tough thing today as well.
It is. And, even with two-parent families.
Even with that, it's
even
hard.
sometimes, like, you have that absent father or the absent mother, and they're not investing in their kids. They're too involved in their phone or their job or whatever. And it might be for, valid reasons, trying to put food on the table. But they're not present
Right.
with their kids.
Right. And whenever we go out to eat, we see that, right? I'm guilty of it. I even talked about this on a previous podcast.
Yep.
I'm guilty of it. And I see just families that are tied to their phones. And there's sometimes we don't even think about it, but me, my wife, and my kids were there waiting for the waitress to come back out, bring her food, and what are we doing? We're on the phone. And that's not healthy. But I tell my kids, though, you guys are on your phone looking at TikTok, right? I'm on my phone networking, connecting, trying to maintain our businesses and things like that. But still, I'll go back to what we said earlier. It's not what we tell them, it's what we're doing. So they see me as an equal there at the table on my phone. So we need to do a better job as parents and as mentors and role models to put the damn phone away, right? Nothing is as important as raising your child the right way. But I think sometimes we get complacent. I've gotten complacent sometimes where I'm just like, after a long day, I just want to relax. Girls, I don't care if you're on your phone. But we try to make it a point. If we're at the dinner table or having lunch somewhere, try to put the phones away.
I think the other side of that coin is making sure that we're taking time for ourselves.
Yes.
Not like overly doing it, but taking time to recharge. And that doesn't necessarily mean in front of your kids.
Right.
Making sure that they're getting the time that they need with you, but you can't give from an empty cup.
Right.
And, whatever that looks like for you. If that's spending time on your phone, then do it not in the room with your kids, right? And then that way when you are with your kids, they see you, they get you.
Quality time. So what is quality time to Courtney Rancho?
When my daughter goes to her grandmother's. I honestly am personally working on that myself. There are times where, I run a business. I'm doing 50 things in a day.
You're a bookkeeper.
I'm a bookkeeper. I'm a lot of things
Networker.
to a lot of people.
You're doing a lot of things, right?
Yes, and I have to remember my first job is to my husband. My second is to my child. And if I'm not taking care of myself, I can't take care of them.
Let's talk about that, all right? Because today, we always talk about, I've said it several times. I think I have some reels that people have seen. The women's empowerment movement. It's a powerful thing. It's across the world. We love women empowering each other. But today, it is a deeply ingrained trend where some women don't feel like they're empowered, so they got to go to these groups to feel special, feel like they're on a pedestal, to feel like they're equal, they are significant, all these different things, right? And we talked about it before the show. I firmly believe that a lot of minorities, including women, because women are part of the minority, I don't think they're really a minority anymore. I think it's just in our mind, women are a minority, but they're really not. I think today women are more empowered than ever before from what I've seen. There's women in politics. Hell, we got a vice president, right? Women are business owners. Women are musicians. Women are prominent figures, not only in the community, but national and worldwide.
Right.
In Mexico, a woman just got elected president,
Wow.
right? There's all these different things. The women's movement, the WNBA is blowing up, right? And I don't think some of those women are empowering each other. By the way, that's a whole nother that's a whole nother
that
thing.
was
all
tough,
right?
bro. That was a tough
the
one.
Caitlin Clark thing, and I'll talk about that if we want to, but
I'm not.
that's a whole nother subject, right? But today I see more women empowering each other than ever before, right? Which is a great thing. But I'm always cautious and mindful. Women and men, they need each other equally. They coexist. Men have strengths, men have weaknesses. The women make up for it with strengths and weaknesses of their own.
Right.
So we can never say, as a man, oh, I don't need any women. No, I don't need women in my life. My kids don't need a mother. I'll take the role of a mother. And I see it the other way as well. I see a lot of these women saying, no, I don't need no man. I'll take care of this my own. I mean, is that really helpful? Is that useful? Is that a thing today? Because I noticed that you said, I'm faithful to my husband, and my husband, before the show, we said, he's the leader of the household,
Right.
right? And your role is his co-pilot.
Right.
Tell us about that.
So, in the Bible, in Genesis, it talks about how, God created Adam, and then they realized that there was no creature like Adam to help him.
Like Adam and Eve,
Adam
right?
and Eve, yes. And so God created a woman from Adam to be his helpmeet. And, we're there, our sole purpose in life, according to the Bible, is to be that helpmeet, to help our husbands. And, that doesn't mean that we can't have jobs. I don't think that's what that means. But our first priority is our husband, if we're married. And, there are a lot of things that I could do on my own. I could do a lot of things. I don't because I would rather have my husband by my side helping me.
You're better together.
There are
Stronger
things-
together.
There are things that I cannot do. I'm short. I can't
Right.
reach
Right.
can't reach shelves. But even strength-wise, women, even the strongest woman is nowhere near the strongest male. And we were both created with our own strengths, our own weaknesses.
Right.
And I'm sorry, my mind.
No, you're good.
Blank.
You're good. I'm going to kind of touch on something real quick. Men don't belong in women's sports. I'll say that. All right. And
Pretty sure it's both ways
And I don't
around.
care what people say.
Yeah.
And women don't belong in male sports.
Right.
Okay. But women and men belong together in the household.
Right.
Women and men belong together in business and in everywhere else. You just have to understand that the roles, strengths, weaknesses, and we're different. We offer different things.
Men were built to take care of the house, right? The home.
To provide, the
Be
security.
the provider, right?
Yes.
And back then it looked like, going out hunting, going out doing this or that. Now it's, we're going to work. We're
Right.
going to bring food to put on the table.
Right.
Right? And the women were the homemakers, the homekeepers, and whatever that looked like, right?
Right.
And that doesn't mean that you have to be in the house all the time. That doesn't mean that you're, all you're good for is children. In Proverbs 31, it talks about the virtuous woman and how she went out and bought a field. You can't do that without knowledge of money, of, land, of, prices and
Resources.
stuff like, she made things, she sold them in the market. She did all these things. And the Bible calls her a virtuous woman, right? And it's not saying you have to stay in your house and you can't do anything other than care for your children. It's saying that your first priority is your husband. Your first priority is your child.
Right. And I'm of the belief that there's no other person more important in my house than my wife.
Absolutely.
And I tell my kids all the time, your mom is number one.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are a branch of the tree. And eventually when you go, start your own family and these things, you're going to eventually grow into a big tree. But right now you're a branch.
Right.
And I think they understand that we're not equals. Because in some households today, the kids think they're equal to the parents.
Oh, yeah.
And depending on how the parents raise the child and how they set the expectations and the standards, it's allowed for these kids to be equals. And they, shut up, mom, shut up, dad. And you've seen that. I think we've all seen that. Have you seen that, J-Rock, with your
Oh man, I get
coaching?
upset, bro, when I see some of my kids talk to some of my parents the way they do. I'm like, okay, we can be running on Monday, Tuesday,
Right.
but I hate that, man. It's like very disrespectful in a way, and those are the people that I'm like, you realize those people feed you, right? Like, come on, man, you gotta be careful with that.
Yep. And so I think kids today get emboldened by these Snapchat and all these things, and they're important within their own little community, their own network at school, right? And then they try to bring that home, and they think they're equally as powerful in front of me, and I'm like, no way.
Who are you?
Right? We're not equals, and we never will be. Right? We're equal in the humanistic sense,
Right.
but as far as the roles and the knowledge, the wisdom, and all these things, because every parent, at least me, I want my kids to be better than me.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day. But right now, it's a stair step. They can't just wake up and accomplish more than me or accomplish more than their mom or what. You need to work at it. You need to grow. You need to get good grades. You need to focus on committing yourself to positivity and all. And then once I see, oh, you guys got it going on, yeah. So now you've graduated into the next level in my mind. And the way I always see it, my kids are in training. I'm training them. Some people don't like me saying that, but I'm training them for life. I'm their life coach, and I'm their mentor. And everything that I say or ask them to do is from a place of love and a place of experience and a place of wisdom and a place of mentorship and nourishment and all these things. But today, it's just a delicate process where kids have to understand the mom and dad is the most important piece of the pie in the home.
Right.
And just like you said, your husband and you, I don't know if you have it equals, but you value your husband. I value my wife. My wife values me.
Right.
And we're all leaders. My kids are leaders in the household as well. Sometimes they make decisions. They don't make the big decisions, but they make decisions enough to make them stronger and mindful that they are decision makers and they are leaders. So it's a very delicate process, and it's a scenario-based system that we have. So I don't know how you have it in your household, and I don't know how our, people out there watching have it, but there's no perfect book on how to parent. There's no perfect book on how to coach. No perfect book on how to lead your life.
Right.
We all lead our lives in different ways. We all cheer for different teams, right? Some might cheer for the 49ers, some might cheer for the Cowboys, but that's okay. Some might be Mormons, some might be Christians.
Right.
Some might be Democrats, some might be Republicans, but it's okay. We're all different. But we just need to teach our kids that diversity is okay, but keep the household mindset intact. Right from wrong, and just make sure your ethics and values are always in unison.
Right.
So that's just the kind of the way I think. And I could be completely out of left field. Some people might say, Johnny, you are a freaking idiot. Johnny, you have no idea what the hell you're talking about. That is completely off base. But that's the way I run my household, and we've been pretty damn good at it.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
so what else you got going on, Courtney? You are very diverse in the sense that you have a lot of things going on. So I know you are in the community, and you are part. You mentioned earlier your dad was a veteran. Our grandfather was a veteran. Grandfather. So you are very supportive of a specific veterans group. You've actually invited me to this networking group. Tell us about that.
So Reboot VA is a nonprofit that helps helps vets coming out of the military start their own businesses.
Okay.
And it provides them resources and how to do, whatever they need, wherever they need knowledge. And then the founder of that, his name is Shane, and he also has networking groups, and they're actually meeting right now.
They're meeting right now. Big shout out to
in New
Shane.
Braunfels.
Okay.
So we're trying to get a New Braunfels chapter going.
Let's give a shout out to Shane. Shane what?
Shane Hicks.
Shane Hicks.
Yes, sir.
Hicks.
Yes, sir.
All right. And he is in charge of the VA Reboot.
It's called Reboot VA.
Reboot VA.
Yes, sir.
So we can follow those guys on Facebook. So that's near and dear to your heart as well.
Yes, sir. Helping the military has always been, my grandfather was military. He was Army. My husband's dad is retired Air Force.
Go Air Force.
So
I might be a little biased.
that's okay. Were you Army?
No.
He was
Courtney,
Air Force.
Courtney,
He
did you
was
just
Air
insult
Force.
me?
He was Air Force.
Courtney just insulted me on the show. Yeah. No.
It was not intentional.
We love the Army too. They're just not as good as the Air Force, but yeah, we love them too.
I might differ on that a little bit. Anyways, you made me lose my train of thought.
No, that's good. It happens on a podcast, right?
I don't
On a
know.
live podcast. As long,
Especially.
Courtney, as long as I don't lose my train of thought, I think we're okay. Because then the podcast kind of goes, out in left field, and then we're all screwed, right?
Anyway, so we are opening the networking up to New Braunfels. I'm part of the shirts location,
Okay.
but we're now in New Braunfels. We had our first meeting last week, and so we have all the positions available.
Which are what? What are the positions?
Any of the businesses. So you've got the real estate, mortgage lender, mortgage, loan officers, plumber, electrician,
How many
contractor.
members do you have?
Currently 2.
Okay. So you're just starting. It's in the infant stages.
Yes, sir. Yes,
Okay.
sir. So we're very much in the infant stage. And then I could be wrong on this, but I think it becomes a full-fledged chapter once we hit like 20 members.
Okay.
So that's kind of what we're pushing for right now, is bringing in, the way Shane puts it, is bringing in our ride or dies, people that,
Committed.
we say, hey, Johnny, we're
Mhm.
doing this, come with me. You're going to be our social media person, come join me.
Courtney, you trying to recruit me live on the show here today?
I am.
Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
Or, I go to my clients, I'm a bookkeeper,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
And the ones that are local here, and I'm like, hey, we're starting a networking group. We don't have, an RV repairman. Would
Right.
you be interested in taking a look at the networking group, right? It is a paid networking group.
What do you mean by that?
So you have to pay, you've got an annual fee,
Okay.
and then you've got, you can either pay upfront for the year,
Okay.
or you can pay in a monthly installment for the year. And then
And the value you get out of that is being able to connect and network with people in unison with them, that they can use your services
Absolutely.
or
Yeah.
branch you out to other resources.
right,
And even also like what we've done with RCA, right?
Right.
We've worked with some veterans, and they're kind of afraid to talk to regular people or civilians.
Right.
So that might help them be more
Yeah.
open-minded. So that's a good value out of that as well.
yeah. I think part of it is, Shane had these vets that wanted businesses, but they needed to network. They needed, to know where their plumber was, where their this person was, for their business. And so he created the networking group. And so we do meet weekly. It's not a requirement to be there every week, but it's one of those, the more you show your face, the more you get business, the more
The more you're top of mind.
right. It's out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
But I've enjoyed the group, and I've gotten a lot of things out of it.
Good. So you've become more educated on the vets
Networking.
as well, networking, some of the multitude of businesses that you come across.
Right.
It's made you multifaceted in the sense that now you are a resource of information.
Right.
If somebody says, hey, I need to find somebody who does this. Oh, let me reach out to Courtney Rancho.
Yeah.
Or
so a lot
Shane.
of times, yeah. So, and I even told Shane this. I was like, look, a lot of the businesses that I come across in the networking group that I'm in, I'm like, I don't necessarily need their services because I don't own a home. I don't do these things. But my clients, they have homes, they have, storefronts. And so I'm here to give them resources.
Right. And because it is hard running a business and not knowing how to market.
Yeah.
Market is so crucial to the business process.
Right.
The inability to generate leads has caused the demise of a lot of businesses. So being active and visible in the community and up front and on camera, whether you're on video or whether you're in front of people talking in a networking environment, is the key to victory.
Right.
The more active you are, the more chances people see you.
Right.
And the more people see you, the more chance of business. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah.
And so we have a marketing mindset, obviously, here at Social Plug Media and Collabspace Studios, getting these small business owners and vets or whoever else. You don't even have to be a business owner.
Right.
If you just have a story to tell, we'd love to
Yeah.
have you on and talk about these things. Because it's so important to get your face out there. But some people are reluctant. Why are people reluctant to get their face out there?
Afraid of rejection, afraid of being canceled, afraid of, just being shy, not knowing how to do it, not being confident in their business,
Right.
what they offer.
So let's talk about canceled. Okay, you mentioned canceled. There's a cancel culture today. If you don't agree with somebody or they don't like what you're saying, they're going to cancel you. And it's happening at the highest levels. It's happening in government. It's happening in society. It's happening in schools. It's happening in business. It's happening all over the place. And it's an unfortunate thing. So people just need to know that, not one, that it's happening, and two, make sure you connect with the right people. And that people, and number three, there's always going to be naysayers. People are
Yeah.
always going to say, I don't like Courtney Rancho.
Not everybody's going to like you.
Yeah, I don't like Johnny Martinez, right? But it happens. But we got to have the strength and courage and discipline and commitment to not listen to those kind of things, because you're always going to be in somebody's bad light,
Yeah.
right?
I think a lot of it is, at least in my case, you have to have enough confidence in who you are and what your standards, what your morals are.
Know
what
your value, know your worth, know what you stand on. Because if you know you're strong on a certain stance, and if somebody, a naysayer, can persuade you, then you're looked on as weak and you're not as committed and passionate as you thought
If you cave,
were.
especially if you cave.
Right. You got to be stronger than the bad omens that are out there. You got to be strong, right? And it's tough today because people are ingrained in society and belonging and all these different things. So, yeah, it takes courage and discipline. So, good on you. You're faith-based. Stick with it. And if somebody doesn't like it, okay.
Yeah.
Who cares?
It's taken me a long time to get there.
Yeah.
But, I finally gotten to the point, even within business, I'm like, if you don't like what I offer, there's the door.
Right.
You don't have to hire me,
Right.
Um,
Yeah, I don't agree with everybody, but I'm mindful enough to be like, hey, we're still friends.
yeah,
I don't have to agree with you. You like the Dallas Cowboys. I don't. It's okay.
this is true.
That's okay. I still love you. I still want to support you, but we don't have to agree on everything.
Right.
Like Justin likes new school wrestling. I like old school wrestling. That's why I got this shirt on, right? The Macho Man. But I still love him to death. We agree. He doesn't like my stance on some stuff, but we keep J Rock around, and I think we're gonna keep J Rock around as long as we can. So, real quick before we close out, you're a bookkeeper. How important is bookkeeping and finances in small business?
Oh, it's super important. Knowing where your money's going. I mean, even outside of a business, knowing where your money's going is key to everything.
Tax write-offs.
Yeah.
That's a huge thing
Yeah.
for businesses. Knowing financially where you stand, because some people are paying a lot more in taxes than they really need to, or some people have contributed to charities, contributed to different things that they didn't even know was a tax write-off. And now they're having to pay more at the end of the year.
Or they forget.
Or they forget. You got to have a bookkeeper to keep track of all these things. So
Absolutely.
kudos to you because you put money back in people's pockets and you keep them on the straight and narrow with their finances. So good on you. And what's the name of your business?
Firefly Bookkeeping.
Firefight Bookkeeping.
Firefly
Okay.
Bookkeeping.
Fireflybookkeeping.com.
I don't have a website.
Okay, but you're on Facebook.
I'm on Facebook.
Where else are you?
Instagram.
Okay. TikTok?
No,
Because you said you don't like being on video.
I'm not a video person.
But you're on video right now.
Don't tell anybody.
So hopefully, this.
It is
Because
something that I'm working
it seems
on.
like you're a little nervous, but it's okay.
No, it's something definitely I'm working on. Trying to get in front of videos for Reboot.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to get in front of videos to bring people in.
Yep.
But I'm working on a new project where I'm going to have to be in front of the camera, at least a little bit. And so.
But Courtney, it's going to make you better.
I know.
It's going to build that confidence in you.
I know.
Because being on camera, especially live, I mean, I've been doing this for about 4 years. So it's easy for me now. You put a camera in front of me and I'm like, oh, here we go, you're plugged in, all this kind of stuff, right? It's easy for me.
Yeah.
But I've done it so many times, the repetition. And there's people who are reluctant to come on a podcast like this, especially a live. They're like, oh, no way.
Yeah.
How do I look? And just be yourself.
Yeah.
And if you screw up on a live, who cares? Just keep going.
Yeah.
Because people want to see the authenticity. They want to see the genuine person that you are.
Right.
You're not as rambunctious as I am. I can go on and I can, get loud and do all these different things. But I'm kind of used to it.
Right.
And I know what I'm saying and things like that. Whether some people like it or not, it's okay. But getting on camera, on video especially, is something that people are reluctant to do. Just like public speaking. More people are afraid of public speaking than anything else. And that's a whole nother level of fear.
Yeah.
Right? But getting over your fears, overcoming that kind of stuff just makes you better. So I'm proud of you that you wanted to come on the podcast. This is your second one. You came on with Jerry Saucedo on Hype Club Live, and now you're with us.
Yep.
And you're just going to keep going.
I am.
And every single time you do it, it's going to make you better. You don't need a script. I don't do a script here. Because if I did a script, I'm not a news anchor. And I don't like a scripted conversation. It's not genuine and authentic. Right? So kudos to you for even coming on here. And and kudos to you on where you're going. I mean, because not just anybody can be an author.
Right.
And not anybody can come on and talk about the religion with passion and charisma like you do. So good on you. Stay strong. Make sure you continue to influence people, make a difference in the lives of others. Keep your family strong, and everybody else will fall into place.
Awesome. Thank you.
All right? So we can find you on Facebook and on Instagram, and you don't have a website.
Yes, I'm in the process of, so we just became an LLC, so I had to change the name.
Congratulations. That's
Thank
another
you.
big step.
Yes, so I just changed the name, so my website was under my old name.
Okay.
And so I haven't done the swap over,
Okay.
so I don't want to confuse
Okay.
people.
Firefly Bookkeeping. So where can we find your book?
On Amazon.
Strictly on Amazon?
Yes, sir. It's published through Kindle Direct Publishing.
Okay. So we will we'll post that as well
So
when we post this
Absolutely.
podcast
So it's actually now in Spanish as well.
in Spanish.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a lot of people looking for the Spanish version?
I had a lot of people interested in the Spanish version, but I have not had anybody purchase
Okay.
a Spanish book.
Okay. Very awesome. You got buzzing going on. So, Ms. Courtney, it's been a pleasure, an honor, and we look forward to having you on future episodes. Tell your friends that this wasn't so bad.
No.
Yeah. I mean, it was a conversation, and sometimes that we can get deeper into the weeds
Oh, yeah.
on it. I gave my opinions on some stuff, and you gave your opinions on some stuff too. But it's okay. We all have opinions, right?
It happens.
And this is a podcast, so if somebody gets offended, oh well. I mean, it doesn't matter to me because we didn't say anything that was out of line or any bad spirits.
No.
So we are the Social Plug Podcast. We're all powered by Social Plug Media. We're on socialplugmedia.net. So we do have a website. We do have a social media following. We're on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
We're on Instagram. We're on TikTok. We're on Facebook. And we got our own studio.
Well, that's exciting.
Downtown New Braunfels, Collabspace Studios. You guys need to really check it out.
Yeah.
All right. So those of you that are out there, we appreciate you watching. Did I say washing? Yeah, wash your clothes and wash your hair. But we appreciate you watching. And J-Rock, thank you for producing today's show. Even though J-Rock was
sir.
kind of all over the place, fixing mics and fixing cameras, he is the man. Without this high-tech producer, we don't run. So with that
It's very
said,
true.
you are unplugged from the Social Plug Podcast. Today's podcast was sponsored by PB Backdrops. You can find them for all your backdrops, canopies, tents, banner needs, and we will talk to you soon.